The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Zethkar's words echoed through the crystalline halls. The towering Vorthon delegates' 4 eyes fixed upon the human representatives with something that could only be described as profound respect mixed with ancient fear. "May the gods help you when humans go mad," he repeated, his translator struggling to convey the gravitas in his native tongue. Alexander Chen, Earth's youngest ambassador at 28, exchanged a glance with his colleague Emma Rodriguez. They had come to this emergency session expecting another routine territorial dispute. Not this. "Honorable Zethkar," Emma began, her diplomatic training keeping her voice steady despite the confusion. "Perhaps you could elaborate on your statement. The human coalition is unclear about the context." The chamber stirred with nervous energy. Representatives from 47 different species shifted in their specialized seating arrangements, their various forms of communication creating a low hum of anxiety. The crystalline hierarchs chimed softly, while the gas-form nebulons pulsed with agitated colors. Zethkar's ancient form straightened, his ceremonial robes rustling. 3 cycles ago, the hegemony of Krix made a grave error. They believed humans were soft, weak. They observed your species' tendency toward compassion, your elaborate social structures, your art and music. They concluded that humanity lacked the warrior spirit necessary for true galactic dominance. Alexander felt a chill run down his spine. The Krix hegemony controlled 12 star systems and commanded one of the most feared military forces in the galaxy. What did they do? "They took your colony." Zethkar's voice dropped to barely a whisper. "New Geneva. Population 1.2 million humans. They believed it would be a simple demonstration of power, that humanity would negotiate, perhaps offer tribute, maybe even surrender other worlds to avoid conflict." Emma's diplomatic composure cracked slightly. "New Geneva has been dark for 3 weeks. We assumed it was a communications malfunction." "There is no malfunction," interrupted Kithara, the insectoid delegate from the hive clusters. Her mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. The Krix silenced them. "All of them!" the chamber erupted. Delegates began speaking over each other in dozens of languages, but Alexander heard none of it. His mind went blank, then filled with a roaring that had nothing to do with sound. New Geneva had been home to his sister's family. Emma's parents had retired there after her father's service in the Colonial Marines. The Krix expected retaliation, Zethkar continued once order was restored. They prepared for your fleets, your diplomats, your economic sanctions. They expected the response of a civilized species. "What they got," whispered Yuntal, the ethereal delegate whose species had fought humans during the border wars decades ago, was something far more terrifying. Emma found her voice. "What are you talking about?" Zethkar activated a holographic display. The image showed a Krix dreadnought, massive and imposing, bristling with weapons. Then the image shifted, showing the same ship, or what remained of it. It looked like it had been torn apart from the inside out. 48 hours after New Geneva went dark, the human fleet arrived in Krix space. But it was not your official navy. It was volunteers. Ships that shouldn't have existed, carrying weapons that violated 17 different galactic treaties. They called themselves the Reckoning. Alexander stared at the image. "That's impossible. Humanity doesn't have that kind of military capability. We're still a Class 3 civilization." "That's what we all believed," Yuntal interjected, "until we learned that humans have been preparing. For decades, your species has been developing technologies in secret, not for conquest, but for protection. When your people learned what happened to New Geneva, the display changed again. This time it showed a star system, the primary Krix stronghold. Half the planets were gone. Not destroyed, not conquered, gone, atomized. They didn't just defeat the Krix military," Zethkar continued. "They erased it completely. No prisoners, no negotiations, no mercy. In 72 hours, the Krix hegemony, a power that had dominated this sector for 3 centuries, ceased to exist." Emma's hands trembled. "The survivors? The military commanders who ordered the attack on New Geneva were found dead in their bunkers. The rest of the Krix population was evacuated to refugee worlds. The humans called it relocation assistance, but the message was clear. Touch our people and we will remove you from existence." Alexander struggled to process this. "But that's not who we are. Humans don't commit genocide." "No," Sethkar agreed. You don't. That's what makes this so terrifying. The humans who did this, they returned to their normal lives, back to their families, their jobs, their art and music, as if nothing had happened. But they left behind a message for all of us. A new hologram appeared, a simple text in galactic standard. We are capable of infinite love and infinite wrath. Choose wisely which you prefer to experience. Kethara's mandibles clicked again. My species has warriors bred for nothing but combat. The Vorthans have technology that can crack moons. The crystalline hierarchs can manipulate matter at the quantum level. But none of us would dare do what humanity did to the Crix. Not because we lack the power, but because we lack the terrifying combination of compassion and ruthlessness that allows a species to weep for their enemies, children while simultaneously erasing their enemies from existence. Sethkar's 4 eyes fixed on the human delegates. Ambassador Chen, Ambassador Rodriguez, your species has been unanimously granted permanent seats on the Galactic Council. Full voting rights, territorial guarantees, and most importantly, he paused, a formal apology from every member species for underestimating what happens when humans go mad. Emma looked around the chamber, seeing fear and respect in equal measure on every alien face. We never wanted this. We know, Yuntal said softly. That's what makes it so much worse. A species that destroys out of hatred can be reasoned with. A species that destroys out of love. The ethereal being shimmered. May the gods help anyone who threatens what humans love. Alexander stood slowly, feeling the weight of his species' new reputation settling on his shoulders. The human coalition accepts these seats on the condition that what happened to the Crix never happens again. We are a species of peace. Peace, Sethkar repeated. Yes, but peace maintained by the certain knowledge that behind your gentle smiles and diplomatic words lies something that can reshape the galaxy overnight when sufficiently provoked. As the session adjourned, Emma caught Alexander's arm. Do you think we did the right thing? Alexander looked around the chamber one last time, at species that had spent centuries viewing humanity as upstart newcomers, now treating them with the careful respect reserved for natural disasters. I think, he said quietly, that no one will ever harm human civilians again. And in the depths of space, where New Geneva once sparkled like a jewel, a memorial station rotated slowly, broadcasting a simple message on all frequencies, in memory of 1.2 million souls. They were loved. They are remembered. They are avenged. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans weren't just capable of great love, they were capable of great wrath. And sometimes the two were indistinguishable.